holds an opinion like this, unsubscribe immediately. I intrinsically associate marriage with religion. Male Viagra. Don't say stuff like that to me again. That's not... Why would you? Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Leena Norms. If you've been here for a while, this video might change your views on me, positively or negatively. If you've never been here before, this is probably a good bumper guide to who the fuck I am. Today I'm answering your assumptions about me as submitted on Instagram. You know how these videos go. I think it could be a fascinating moment to either confirm or deny some assumptions I didn't realise you were making about me, and potentially bring up stuff I wouldn't consider discussing on the channel before. So here we go. You read in evenings, but also in the mornings and the afternoons. Wrong! I mainly read on my commute. I live in London, so I commute about 10 hours a week. Even though with my housemates I collectively pay a 5-figure number to a landlord, I still commute 10 hours a week to get to the place where I earn the money. So that's a huge contributor. I also read before bed. Apart from that, I'm not really somebody who just sits down and reads. I have ants in my pants. You will occasionally see me curling up with a book, but I've never really been somebody who would read a book from start to end in one sitting. I am too Tigger for that lifestyle. You can't read at all and your career is a massive ruse to stop anyone finding out. Confirmed! You are actually 12 hours in a coat and that's how you get so much reading done. Confirmed! That you are really an outgoing person within your friendship group. I am an outgoing person. When I'm in a group, I try not to talk over people or be too loud because I don't think that's being part of a group. That's something I had to learn because as a teenager, I was erring on the side of gobby, not confident. And I also don't know if I have, I don't really have a group of friends. I have friends and I have friends that I see together sometimes, but I don't really think I am part of a group of friends. I feel like I'm somebody who gets on with people one-to-one a lot more or in groups of 2. I don't know. Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is real. You know when you're somebody who says stuff aloud to see if it's true? I think that's true. You don't believe in marriage. Now this is something I'm still unpacking, mainly because I do know how I feel about it, but I don't know how to unpack that on an individual level without commenting on other people's actions and experiences and views. And I think when it's something deeply interpersonal that weaves in with religion and experience and meaning, it requires a lot more vocabulary and wisdom than I think I have right now to express how I feel about it. But basically, I don't think I want to get married. And for me and my experience, I intrinsically associate marriage with religion. And I do think it's a little bit weird that people who are atheists completely detach marriage from religion but copy and paste a lot of the beliefs without unpacking them. Unless you put children in the equation and it's a way of symbolically making children feel secure, which again links into another one of your assumptions about me, that I don't want to have kids, which I have referenced a few times. I don't think I do. No. The person I am right now doesn't know. Not in a oh, I hate children, disgusting, why would anybody have children kind of way. Just in a kind of would you like dressing on your salad? Not really. It feels like a very specific set of talents, aspirations and life choices that just don't align with who I know I am. I think I've explained that. I would like to make more videos on those topics, but I don't think I will for several years because as a very wise woman called Sazonke I met recently, who you'll meet in another video soon, said, show your scars, not your wounds. And I feel like my thoughts and emotions about marriage and children are wounds at the moment, not because they're bad, but just because they're open concepts, things that I'm working through. And when they feel more this sounds really negative, when they feel more finished as thoughts and processes for me, I'd like to present them outwards, but right now they feel like very personal inward conversations. So I won't be making any more videos on that very soon, so soz if you're gonna ask that in the comments because I don't know what happened. You enjoyed drama at school. Correct. And I also think people who enjoyed drama at school can spot other people that enjoyed drama at school a mile off. We are a personality type and we find each other. You are emotionally stable and level-headed. Generally I am. Every now and then I have my wobbles, as everybody does, but I think I am much more like that now that I've found a contraception that doesn't send me mad, which makes a lot of sense now that I know for every one study and investment that has been done into female contraception, there has been 10 done into male Viagra. You're a Gryffindor with a fair slice of Ravenclaw. Incorrect. I am a Hufflepuff. Every test I've done has confirmed this. And also, if you're interested, Pottermore diagnosed my Patronus. Now, I was watching everybody get their Patronus diagnoses and I was like, oh, people are otters, foxes, stags. I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going in. Put in all of my truth, open my heart to J.K. Rowling and her team at Pottermore, and my Patronus is a salmon. There's no way to dress that up, really. My Patronus is a salmon. You read a lot of classic literature like Dickens, Austen, etc. I do work for a publisher that emphasises classics, so I often end up like picking up weird classics. No offence. Oh, hold on, I'll show you what I'm reading right now. I try to read some of these Red Spine classics that Vintage publish, and I'm reading The Atom Station by Laxness at the moment, who is one of Iceland's most famous authors. So I do read classics, but I don't think I read like heavy, like, you know, George Eliot and Don Quixote and stuff like that. I haven't read those, and I'd like to. It's just that I get a lot of proofs of new books, and I work on a lot of new books coming through, and it's something that in my later adult life just hasn't been a priority. But obviously I did a master's in English, so I have read some classics. You are good with money and very confident. Do you know what? I'm good at negotiating money. I'm good at managing money at work. I used to be a business development manager, and I did some really pretty good spreadsheets considering I only have an English degree. And I passed a lot of mental arithmetic tests to get that job. But I'm probably not that good with managing my personal money, and that is definitely one of my goals to get better at this year. You don't need coffee because you are naturally high energy. I do need coffee, and just because I am addicted to it, not because I think there are periods in my life when I haven't drank coffee and I've been this bouncy, but when you are slightly addicted to coffee, it takes down your level in the morning, and then you kind of have to have it. I only have like 1 cup of coffee a day. I only need 1 cup of coffee a day. I can top it up with more, but really, if I don't have my morning coffee, you will not be getting words out of me. I tried to tap into work with my bank card and I was like, oh yeah, I work. People pay me to come here. I tried to tap onto the tube with my house key once. Coffee is needed. You generally vote Labour. Confirmed. You don't get to read for fun as much as you'd like to. Confirmed. I do. All reading is fun, but there are just books that I have to read in my spare time because, spoiler alert, nobody in publishing gets paid to read, but we do it all in our spare time. You want to live in another country at some point in your life. I would really like that, and I think that I'd need a really big reason to. I wouldn't just be like, oh, I think I'm going to be quirky and move countries. Like, I'd need like a thing, and I'd need Craig, my boyfriend, to feel like it was the right decision for us, not just me. But that would be cool for a short period of time. Although I feel, as I grow, I think I still feel a loyalty to Britain. Not in an EDL kind of way, in a Michael Moore kind of way, who said, I refuse to live in a country like this and I'm not leaving. And I feel like I generally would like to stay in Britain and make it better, but I think it'd be an amazing life experience to temporarily live in a different country. Unless Brexit ruins us all, in which case, see you in Ireland, my friends. You think fairy lights can be passé? Who holds an opinion like this? Unsubscribe immediately. Fairy lights are joy and life, and the only aspect in which they could be passé is because they're ruining the environment. So don't say stuff like that to me again. That's not. Why would you? You find it hard to keep up with messages so much. This is one of the great tensions in my 20s, I feel, is my deep guilt for not being able to reply to people at the rate that people message me. And that sounds really arrogant, but I think just when you live in a capital city and you're constantly meeting people and you are quite sociable, that just happens. It's not just me, it's most people. And the deep resentment at the expectation that you will be on your phone all the time and be able to reply, and the deep determination to not be a person who's constantly on their phone, even though you are constantly a person who's on their phone. Oh. If you accidentally judge someone, you'd quickly internally be correcting yourself. I think I am a deeply judgmental person, first towards other people and then towards myself. It's a daily struggle to be able to differentiate between people you should trust and people you shouldn't, people you should invest time in and people you shouldn't, but also not judge people. How do you reconcile that? It's a minefield. You miss ABBA, that's short for Aberystwyth. I do. I think anybody who's met me knows that Aberystwyth is my spiritual home, and why it probably can't sustain the life that I really want right now. It's It's one of the promised lands, guys. Go. Caitlin Moran is right. The sea is like glitter glue. You judge people based on their star sign. Do you know what? I don't really know that much about star signs. I'm a Gemini. Do you think it's something I should pay attention to? Probably not. Maybe? I don't know. I'm very easily sucked into cults, so it just scares me as a concept because it feels like something I might start believing. You get bored by mundane life very quickly and need to spice things up by buying things. Look into my soul, I don't even rip it apart. Yes, that's why I'm trying a no-buy challenge and occasionally failing at it. But I need to find other ways to break out of routine, because I think breaking out of routine is a really healthy way for my brain to be stable, and to do unexpected things and to change things up all the time is just quite obviously a way that my brain stays healthy. But I don't think that requires me buying a different scarf every season, does it? No. You have your shit together because you're so passionate and you have confidence to try and get one. I can't read the rest of your message because Instagram cut me off, but I think that's a really interesting statement, that you think I have my shit together because I'm passionate. And that actually, my initial reaction was to say, whoa, I don't have my shit together. That's not what is happening here. I hope that is not what I've communicated with my videos, because what is having your shit together though? If you think that having your shit together is finding something you're passionate about it and expressing that, I guess I do. Maybe that is how we should maybe measure how we have our shit together. Do we know what we are passionate about? Are we being actively, in the way we live our lives, passionate about it? Mind blown, this person. By the way, I'm not just not calling out their names. It's because when I put up the Instagram story, I said, I will keep you anonymous if you submit a question. So that's why I wanted people to be more bolshy in what they asked. So I said it would keep anonymous. Men find you intimidating. I got this sense when I was dating. So it's not that I'm particularly intimidating as a person generally. I don't think objectively I am. But I did learn from the dating scene. People that I went on dates with weren't used to holding very hard conversations with women or them disagreeing with them. It's a weird world out there, man. But like, there was a fear in their eyes when you're like, I hear what you're saying, but have you heard of a concept called structuralism, which means that you might be thinking in a way that is a little bit like, do you think that's been influenced by anything? And they're like, what? When I'm sure they're the kind of people that would have those conversations with men and it wouldn't be weird. Like, it's not just that they were like less intelligent than me. They seemed like disgruntled that I wanted to match them in conversation. That you're quite untidy. I don't know why, but I don't. I don't know why, but I don't have you down as a neat freak. Confirmed. Craig can confirm this for you. Craig describes it as like, he moves through the world in this really like careful way. He like, looks at the objects that are around him and places them in places and tries to move through the world being like, okay, next step. I move through the world like, I'm going over here and anything that's in my way needs to go. So that's how I get out the door in the morning. It's just like, anything that isn't in my direct line of sight doesn't need to be interacted with, moved away, and anything that I've used and no longer needs to just get out my line of sight as fast as possible. But I'm learning. You have a really weird guilty pleasure. Do you know what I do like doing? I like watching those YouTube videos where people extract stuff out of their ears, because I'm somebody who's constantly convinced that I have a huge amount, like I have like some huge object in my ear that needs to be pulled out, and I've had that feeling for years, even though I'm pretty sure my ears are fine. So I like watching YouTube videos where they pull out like what is the equivalent of a human arm of wax out of somebody's ear. Like, you don't love e-readers and only prefer physical or audiobooks. Not true. I really do like reading a good book on an e-reader. I do feel like I don't form the same kind of emotional bond with the book if I read it on an e-reader, but they are incredibly useful for when you're commuting, or if you want to read a big book, or the book that you want to read is printed in a really small font that you can't get on with. Like, I think e-readers have a place in the future. Amazon don't. But the concept of e-readers do. You went to a village primary that only had like 50 students. Denied, not true. I went to a city primary school in Coventry, and I think like 4 of the people I was in the school with I say with now. When I talk about Coventry, I go back to my old accent. Does anybody else feel like they have moved to London and acquired this strange accent that they don't know where it came from and they've been trying to consciously stop it, but then they go home and they talk to their friends and they remember that they have actually changed the way they speak. But, I'm from somewhere near Birmingham. It's called Coventry. Video about accents and the politics of class. It was a pretty working class primary school. I still consider myself middle class because I have more privileges than the people I grew up with, I think. But I just said with. That's how I used to say with before I moved to London. It's so weird. Class is a hard thing to navigate. Anyway, you know, like 4 of the people in my class are in prison now, I think, from what I've heard. People who went to private schools that I've met and people who went to like grammar schools and better schools seem to think that the education in primary schools in like city stuff is really, really bad, and actually a lot of it, like there's a lot of really hardworking teachers there, and I don't feel like I was lacking in an education in primary school. Anyway, what are we talking about? This is getting too deep. It's too deep. Carry on. Do you like cheese? Confirmed. Currently debating whether I'd give it up for climate change, but I'm never going to change the fact that I love cheese. Although I totally would, in another world, I would keep a cow just so I could have cheese. Like, I would spend the time, the money. I would, like, that. I feel like if I could make my own organic cheese and it not be part of the food industry and fuck everybody else's lives up, I would go as far to say it's one of my favourites. It's better than, I prefer cheese to chocolate. You were bullied in school for being the creative outcast. Denied. I was bullied in school for being a Christian, if I was bullied, or for being a bit overweight, or for having a moustache. They're the things I was bullied for at school. I wasn't like bullied, like I didn't have an ongoing bully. I didn't have one person who was making my life hell. Everybody gets teased at school. That was what I was teased for. You don't like being asked what your favourite book is. I kind of love it, but it's a paragraph, not a sentence, and I hate it because I'm never going to tell you what my favourite book is because I don't think I have one. But I will give you 5, and then you will regret asking me and want to walk away, but I won't let you. I'll hold you by the wrists and be like, read this book. You read 2 books per week. Okay, so I think I read about, on average, I read about 50 books a year. So I read about just under 1 book a week, but it tends to be I'll read 2 books in a week and then read nothing the next week and just read articles and like other random stuff, or like pick up a bit of a book the next week. So on average, I read about a book a week. Okay, we're going there because there's so many questions. People have been asking whether I am bi or I've questioned my sexuality. Like, a lot of people ask that, and I don't want to be the straight person that profits off the ambiguity of my sexuality. So, as some people have asked, like, have you ever questioned your sexuality? Like, you're not sure about your sexuality. I am. Like, I'm not going to be the person who's like, oh, I don't know, yo. Like, I do know that I am a straight person who is a ally in training. I'm not going to be perfect at that. And I think, like, when I ask myself, oh, have you ever questioned your sexuality? I've definitely checked in with myself a lot, and especially with an upbringing in Christianity that doesn't always favour homosexuality, I've been like, oh, I should probably like deeply check with myself in case I'm like repressing something. But I wouldn't call that questioning. I'd call that checking in with myself. You want to be a successful author? I would love that. And do you know what? I think a lot of people would be like, I just want to write a book. I want to be an author. But yeah, you're right. I do want to be a successful author. And I think that a successful author is a successful communicator. And I would like people to read my book. I'm not saying that I want to finish my book, and I want some people to read it and like it, and I think that is being a successful author, is being a successful communicator and being able to successfully share your art with people. And that doesn't mean being a full-time author or making loads of money from it or being able to tour the world or getting a film deal. My definition of success is, I just really like writing, okay? It's just one of the things, it's the place that I feel, like when I'm writing, I feel like I shouldn't be anywhere else. Does anybody have something like that, where they're like, everything else they do, they feel like they've got like something in the back of their head that's like, should be doing this, should be over here, like, well, why are you doing this, should be doing, and like when I'm writing, I don't feel, the voice goes away. You can't imagine having children. Yeah, that's part of it actually as well, going back to my first thing, it's like, I actually just can't imagine it. And there's so many other aspirations that I have that I can imagine and I can see, and then that, playing that role in somebody's life is just not something that, like, it feels disjointed and not right and uncomfortable to be to imagine that. Your favourite colour is orange. Confirmed! But also my historical, like, life favourite colour is purple. But I feel like I use orange a lot on my social media and stuff because it is my, like, other favourite colour, and I feel like it explains who I am and what I want to talk about a lot more than purple. I don't know what that, you know, I've never really thought that hard about it, but I guess now I'm saying that out loud, that is how I feel about it. Have the best Patreon only group, Gumption Club forever. Thank you, this is somebody from the Gumption Club. Confirmed! Everybody who is a Patreon of me and is therefore part of the Gumption Club, which is a secret Facebook group where we chat all the time, are like, it's an incredible group of people. And like, what's cool is that they're from all different professions and countries, and like we've got coders and nurses, and like it's, yeah, confirmed. Better than I ever expected it would be. You guys don't. I'll cry. Don't. I've just put on my mascara. You don't get anxious. I had a few of these, like, people who are like, you're really confident, you don't get anxious. And I'm like, I don't suffer with medical anxiety. I do get anxious. So you get short of breath. I go to networking events and consider not going. I talk myself into doing stuff all the time. But I fundamentally am somebody that I know will do it anyway. And I think I'm at that. I've worked through that enough with myself, and I did enough drama and stuff in my youth to really, like, feel fear and do it anyway. But I would never say that I'm not, like, anxious about, like, presenting a workshop or a presentation. My impression is I feel a lot better about it than most people, but it's not absent. You consider listening to an audiobook cheating. Don't start me. You are an only child. Incorrect. I have a brother and I was the best man at his wedding last year. But if you get big sister vibes from me, that's why. You are a perfectionist and you'll push yourself too much at times. I'm not a perfectionist in that I will put stuff out that has, like, a slight problem with it, or I'll show people my work when I'm not completely happy with it, and, like, stuff like that. I'm not too precious about my work, I don't think. I'm not, like, too... everything must be completely right, but I do like control over what I make, and I am very much like a lone wolf when it comes to work, I think. And I like to I like to do the whole process myself, and I don't see my way as perfect, but I see my way, like the small decisions I make in a process, as part of, like, a whole. And I don't like giving away those small decisions to people because I feel like it will ruin the ecosystem of the idea. Does that make any sense? But yeah, I think I'm not saying that's the right way to think, but I think that is something I've noticed about myself recently, is that I'm like, oh, you kind of do like control, even though you're like, chill. You get about 6 hours sleep every night. Do you know what? Yes, correct. I get more now. I live with Craig, but I think I can run fine on 6 hours sleep. You know, there's the fact about how, like, apparently your REM cycles are 90 minutes long, so it's better if you sleep in multiples of 1.5. And I did try that at university. Like, I'd either sleep 6 hours or 7.5. I would never sleep 7 hours, and that did surprisingly work for me. That made me feel really good. And I think I can run on 6 hours sleep. That's fine. And lastly, the assumption that keeps coming up, that people are like, you're super hardworking, or you're like, you never stop working, you're always really focused and working. And I'm like, and I had this conversation with my friend Ra yesterday, because she was like, you were one of the, and people were like, you're the most hardworking person I know. You're the person that works the hardest out of all the people that I'm friends with. And I'm like, yeah, but you're friends with nurses and doctors and teachers, and, like, there's a different kind of thing where I think that I do work really hard on my own projects, and I am, like, constantly writing or creating or making videos in my spare time outside my 9 to 5. But like, it's fun, like, and not that I don't think I should be paid for it, or that art has monetary value as well as intrinsic value, but, like, it's not the kind of... I think there are a lot of people in Britain who work a lot harder than me, especially if you are a parent, you're a carer of somebody who has a disability, or an illness. I'd hate to be somebody who walks around being like, I work really hard, I'm a hard worker. I just, with a conscience, I can never be like, of all of the mean, medium and mode working levels in the world, I am, like, above it, you know? So I don't think it's that I'm working hard, it's that I'm creating hard, and I'm very focused and involved in what I do. But I love it and I'm proud of it, and it doesn't drain me, it energizes me. So, like, what are you gonna... That's, you know, anyway, that's how I feel about that. I hope your assumption was answered in this video and you enjoyed it and potentially you learned something new about me. Tell me in the comments if there's anything that was unexpected for you. Any other assumptions you have about me, I might come down and answer them in the comments too. Thank you so much for watching. Do give this video a like if you liked it. And tell me if you have any opinions about the things I've been talking about, because I feel like I didn't give a solid answer for anything, because that's a good way to be as a person, especially if you're under 30, not knowing what the fuck you're talking about and admitting it. I will see you in my next one. Frog Snug out.